Good morning, Dumb Marks. Welcome to episode 239 of the Dumb Marks podcast. You got the full crew here today again. Gentlemen, how are we doing on this Saturday morning?
Sun is out and shining right now, so that's a good thing. Storms rolled through last night. I'm over the amount of rain we've had in the last 3 weeks to a month. I can tell you that much.
Jason, you got that look down there like you could have kept sleeping this morning.
No, I could have. I need that rain to come back. Sun is out. I've been working in this yard little by little, and that just means I got to get out here again.
The rain makes it worse. You want to have dry days so you can go out and knock it all out at once.
I can forget about it. Say, hey, leave it up to the borough.
Leave that up to the borough.
My lawn's done.
How was everybody's week?
Tired. Furniture reset yesterday. I'm sick of lifting furniture.
Ooh. I didn't know tiring was a word, but I guess we can add that to the lexicon.
I don't give a fuck about language. Tiring.
He got on the red shirt today. I should have known something was up whenever he got the red shirt on.
It's the first thing I asked him too.
Is he on his bullshit today? Is he coming in ready to land base somebody and go off on a few things, or he's just gonna phone it in and pull a Jason and just kind of do minimal effort?
I'm hoping it's the first one.
We'll see.
The morning's still young. We got time.
He had a pretty good rant last week, even though he wasn't on the pod.
Yeah. Hey, wrestling boy, it's about to get that cut mode for me. It is. I'm about to just be on the podcast, just in the box, just to show up
in the box. Pause.
Yeah, because shit is bullshit now.
We'll definitely get into it. But for me, it wasn't a great week in wrestling, but before we kick things off for the week that was, opening topic today, if you were a wrestling fan in the 90s, you know that we lost a very influential man this week in wrestling, hence the title of the show, Homicidal, Suicidal, Genocidal, the man Sabu. We were all wrestling fans in the 90s, watched him in ECW and many other promotions. If you're new to wrestling and maybe didn't know all about Sabu in the 90s, just a quick rundown of some of his credentials. He was a 2-time ECW champion, 1-time FTW, 1-time ECW television champion, 3-time ECW tag, 1-time IWGP junior heavyweight champion, and 1-time XPW champion. So kind of the topic that I want to discuss this morning, since we all watched it, I want to kind of take a minute and let us all kind of talk about what we remembered about Sabu, if we had any favorite matches or moments of him. While you guys kind of think about that, or maybe you thought about it this week, reflecting back on it, you heard the news. Mine, for me, probably the most influential match that I can think of whenever I hear the name Sabu was Born to Be Wired 97. Whenever I eventually watched that match, I'd never seen anything like that before, and what really earned my respect for Sabu is whenever he cut his bicep in that barbed wire and just duct taped it back up and got back into that match. I mean, that to me was like whenever Tommy Dreamer got caned and everybody started chanting, he's hardcore, he's hardcore. That moment for me is Sabu, who he was as a wrestler, and just put his body on the line and just went out there and did whatever the fuck he wanted to do, basically.
We were just talking about Sabu on the pod. We literally just had this conversation after the retirement match.
Yeah.
And talked about, is he a Mount Rushmore of ECW? Where's he at as far as the pantheon of most influential wrestlers of all time? Because legitimately you could throw out there that he was arguably one of the top 5 most influential wrestlers of all time, given what it is now from a high-flying acrobatic standpoint. And Sabu was the first person to really put that. Sabu was really the first person to put that into play on a week in and week out basis, right? A a lot of people said Sabu was Aura before Aura. There was definitely an energy and a feeling when the lights went out and you heard the music hit. If you weren't outside, you hear old heads talking about being outside all the time, right? If you weren't outside and around to witness that, then hold on, I got an impromptu guest here. Hold on.
Todd, why don't you continue on?
Yeah. For me, the WrestleMania 10 ladder match with Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon was probably like the most hardcore thing like I ever saw, back then. Until I saw the Stairway to Hell match in '98 when Sandman fought Sabu, and I was like, "Holy shit, what is this?"
Yeah.
And then it opened me up to a whole new stage of like wrestling altogether with the hardcore era. So thanks to him and what he did, opened my mind up to what ECW was back then.
That was the match where he like ended it with like the flip on the ladder on the Sandman, right? Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Insane. Jason.
Just a crazy man that got me in the ECW. That's it.
You give him the credit for watching ECW?
Yeah. Seeing the commercials. He was pretty much the package of the commercials.
Yeah.
Him and New Jack. Those two.
And those were some great tag matches too. Like whenever, RVD and Sabu were the tag champs, and whenever they would fight, New Jack in the tag matches and the Dudleys and everything, those are the matches that usually stole the show because of how insane that they were. Like you don't, I guess like now it doesn't have the same feeling, but it's like, I guess like AEW, like their Anarchy in the Arena, like when they play the music a lot during it, and they just go through that was what ECW was doing on a weekly basis back then, especially more in their tag matches. Like that music would just play, like New Jack's music would play or somebody else's music would play, and you just didn't know what was going to happen in the match at all. Like, but it was entertaining as all hell.
And he was a great singles wrestler, but when he teamed up with RVD, I think it elevated him even more.
Agreed. It was similar but different styles at the same time.
Yeah,
they're both high flying, but RVD didn't do as much of the hardcore stuff. He was more of like the martial arts and high flying, where Sabu was high flying and throwing everything at you but the kitchen sink, and sometimes including the kitchen sink.
And it meshed well for them.
Yeah,
and with Fonzie as their manager, just like total package of a team.
Yeah.
You can kick him in.
That hate for Fonzie got to stop.
We'd sit there and watch it. My dad would be like, "I just want to shove that whistle up his ass."
The best part.
But Fonzie had that passion, like don't saying it just was a package deal. You knew what to expect. You didn't know if Fonzie was getting it included in the match or if he was just going to be out there, screaming and using the whistle or just prop the matches. Fonzie probably, and this was an ECW thing for really a lot of people, but he put in that work just like, a Sherry Martel did, in a match, because if they needed a table, Fonzie got a table. They needed a chair, Fonzie got the chair.
Like in Indies, if you want the payroll,
you're helping
everything.
Yeah.
Not promotion rant.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't watch much of Sabu after the original ECW because I know it wouldn't be the same. So I didn't watch a lot of his stuff afterwards.
Yeah, right after, like even when he left ECW originally, went to WCW for a short stint, and then came back. I think that was like whenever he really made a name for himself was whenever he came back. They did their thing with WWE at the time, whenever you had like the original Invasion angle. And then, whenever WWE bought ECW, they brought him in, and even the relaunch of ECW. He had a lot of time in TNA.
Okay.
And he spent a lot of time there. The one that surprised me whenever I was going through his credentials, I mean, there's a long list of championships that he's earned over the years. I just kind of gave like some of the top names. I didn't realize he was an IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion.
No, that did.
So I'm sure that would have been something to see him over in New Japan Wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know how they get with the death matches over there.
Yeah. But Don, what was you like what Living Dangerously? 99?
Living Dangerously, 98.
98.
Living Dangerously, 98, yeah.
That's like one of your favorite pay-per-views.
Yeah, and with his match, I remember Paul said in the pre-show, when they had pre-shows back then, that his match wasn't going to be shown because it was too much for the pay-per-view. But then stuff happened, and then they was like, no, we're going to put the match on. So the match was already pre-taped before.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Paul was like, something happened, somebody got hurt on the card, so we're showing the damn Sabu match. Put the Sabu match on right now. You're like, who cares what the pay-per-view people say? So
And Paul didn't care.
no.
Yeah. Whatever gave you a full show, that's all he cared about.
Mm-hmm.
More than anything back then.
All right,
Okay,
I'm back.
me down there snacking.
No, so
Came back in wiping his lips. I don't even want to know.
lip gloss. My wife, her and her girlfriends are going doing a little weekend getaway type deal. So she was in the process of getting ready to leave the house, come down and say goodbye to me. So it's her girlfriend's birthday, so they're doing a little road trip for some dinner, some shopping, evening out, etc.
Bachelor
And then
weekend.
she'll be back later on tomorrow. So yeah, it's just me and my daughter. My son's away for reserves, so yeah, I'm sure I'll just turn into a jitney driver for her all weekend to take me here, take me there, pick this friend up, drop me off here, blah 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 blah. So it's not like I got a night out because the wife ain't here. It's not that at all. So, you know, because I originally thought, oh, and then it's like, yeah, no. It's not happening. So yeah.
Anything else you got on Sabu?
Well, I muted the mic, so I didn't hear you guys talking. But basically, what I was just saying was, as far as the influence goes, I don't think the business in certain aspects of the business is where it is without Sabu. Hands down. If you remove Sabu out of wrestling, we play this game sometimes, right? If you take one away, what does it look like? If you take Sabu out of wrestling, I think a lot of the shit that we're seeing now just doesn't even exist. Or is not to the level where it is currently, based on what he did.
Anything with a chair.
Anything with a chair.
Yeah.
No, but like he was so different. The presentation, the aura, the fact that he never spoke and was over like Rover.
Mm.
It's kind of hard to imagine somebody not speaking today and being as over as Sabu was in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
And that's a credit to him, the character work. That's a credit to Paul and how he booked Sabu. Say what you will about Heyman, but he was a mastermind at booking to everybody's strengths in ECW to make everybody look larger than life.
That was like his 101. Accentuate the positives, hide the negatives. He said that many times over the years.
And one of those people,
As far as rivalries go, I will put Sabu and Taz up against any rivalry you want to throw out there throughout the course of pro wrestling. Could have been legitimate shoot heat at times. You never know. Taz spoke very glowingly of Sabu on Dynamite on Wednesday. Rob Van Dam had a nice tribute show the other night with Sabu and set the record straight on a lot of the things that came out afterwards, after he passed, and so on and so forth. We're not going to talk about any of that because it's a celebration of the man, not all the other garbage BS floating around. What's true, what's not true. Yeah, Sabu is somebody that maybe not. Maybe inside of the business of pro wrestling got his flowers for what he did, but maybe outside of the world of pro wrestling because of some of the stuff Sabu said later on in life, where he did start talking and tweeting and etc. Right? Maybe didn't get his flowers as he should have, but it's definitely somebody that had a major influence as far as my watching and love for pro wrestling. There were clips going around of a tag team match, and I didn't even know this match happened. It was him and Rob Van Dam against Hayabusa, and I'm trying to remember who the fourth person was that team with Hayabusa. But like, if you watch that match, you can go on YouTube and search it. If you watch that match, that is a direct correlation to what AEW does in the ring right now. The style, the fast pace, the high flying moves, people in and out, the quote unquote AEW style that they get credit for, that is that match.
Was that in ECW or was that in another promotion?
I want to say it was in ECW.
Okay.
But and I want to go back and rewatch the match in full. I was just watching different clips that people were posting from that match because it's crazy seeing Hayabusa in the ring again, right? Like, talk about somebody that passed away prematurely and doesn't get credit for the influence that he was in pro wrestling. But just those four in the ring and what they did, like, it is, if you took that match and you dropped it on an AEW card in 2025, it slots right in, no hesitation, work rate, just everything that is AEW, that match exudes it. And that was 35 years ago. So
I'll have to take a look at that.
You can't tell me that the influence isn't there if you have something that happened 35 years ago and you drop it in modern day pro wrestling and it fits like a T. So
I ended up watching his last match this week because I hadn't watched it prior to that. And after the match was over, Joey Janela said, kind of see what you were talking about, that Sabu was in his Mount Rushmore. He said there wouldn't be a Joey Janela today if there wasn't a Sabu in ECW.
And he's like that for a lot of people. But it's just, again, because it wasn't WWE or it wasn't WCW, the credit isn't there for what a lot of those guys did in ECW in the 90s. Mm-hmm. People give flowers to ECW as a whole for birthing certain styles and booking, etc., right? The rebellious attitude, the whole 9 yards. ECW as a whole gets a lot of credit. But there's very few guys in ECW that were ECW quote-unquote lifers. They get the flowers that they do. Ray obviously went on big things, WCW, WWE. Guerrero, big things, WCW, WWE. Hell, even Malenko, yeah. WCW, WWE for a short period. Perry Saturn, part of the Eliminators, WCW, WWE.
Jericho,
WCW, WWE.
Would there have been a Stone Cold without his brief stint?
Right, but people don't give credit to. I don't want to say they don't give credit, but that 2-week, 3-week run that Stone Cold had in ECW, because he wasn't there long, right? No.
He was injured at the time, so he was doing more promos than
he was doing promo stuff. But that gave him the confidence to be Stone Cold. Mm-hmm. He's talked about that many a times.
Yeah.
If I didn't have that time in ECW working on my promos and Paul Lee just handed me a microphone, I'm not Stone Cold. Because he didn't have that from WCW. Mm-hmm. And then they gave him a mouthpiece and didn't let him speak for 2 years in WWE.
Yeah. Was it Welcome to Monday Night Quote where the big boys play with themselves?
But yeah, like I said, we do this all the time. It doesn't matter what genre. It could be pro wrestling, it could be movies, it could be music. It doesn't matter. When people pass away, they come out with the flowers for everybody, right? We need to start talking about people more in that vein while they're alive and giving it. But I think also the individual talents within ECW need to be recognized more for their contribution in pro wrestling outside of just ECW as a whole. And I'm sure those guys are fine with waving the ECW banner. They still talk about it to this day and different things. And Bully Ray had it was Bully Ray, Dreamer, Mark Henry, and they had Sandman on about 20 minutes, 25 minutes roughly, about them, talking about Sabu and Sandman and him. It was Sandman, him, and Fonzie. Like, that was the crew that they rolled with, right? And Sandman, went on and talked a lot about Sabu and how Sabu made him, right? But it's just, we got to start speaking about some of those guys in a more glowing light based off of their contribution outside of just, ECW was ECW. And Sabu is the prime example of somebody that I think is larger than the ECW banner, given what he gave to pro wrestling and every single offspring that he, quote unquote, produced. The Sabu tree, but didn't get the credit for.
And give them their credit while they're around. Like, I think it was Sami Zayn said, I guess, for the past couple of years, he's really been beating the door down with Sabu needs to go in the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. It's like, unfortunately, he didn't get that moment while he was alive now, but.
And there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of those guys, from the ECW banner that need to go into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Jason.
Do you think it's because they never adapted with the times? Like the people you just mentioned, other than the ones you mentioned went on, they stayed the same person throughout. Like Dreamer is still Dreamer, still Dreamer. Sabu always been Sabu.
I don't know. The Dudleys. They went through a change. Went on and changed and grew. I mean,
they reverted back to, being Dudleys, but
yeah. I don't think it's that. I just think Sabu was never going to get the shot to be Sabu anywhere else outside of ECW as far as mainstream North American wrestling, because there was only one player around. And Vince wasn't going to give Sabu the leeway to be Sabu. And we saw it the couple times that he was in WWE. It didn't feel like Sabu. So
it was, I mean, the whole thing in general was just ECW light.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, 60 years old is young, obviously, right? But that 60-year-old ECW is probably closer to 80, 85, given everything that those guys did during that 10-year and run in history, because they lived hard. And that wasn't just ECW. That was WWE guys. That was WCW guys, etc. Right? Yeah. And just how wrestling was in the 80s and 90s. So yeah, it's definitely one of the ones. He's definitely one of the guys that have passed away from a pro wrestling standpoint that I think whenever I watch matches, it'll feel different. Just like Eddie Guerrero. Like I go back and watch Eddie Guerrero stuff now, and it just feels different because Eddie's not here.
Mm-hmm.
And not to compare Sabu to Eddie, because I'm not doing that. It's just like whenever I watch Sabu matches now, it's just going to feel different because Sabu's not here.
Sure.
So, yeah, like I don't know. He's just one of those guys for me. Like I said, you talked about the three-way, the barbed wire match, him and Taz's rivalry. Like I said, that was probably my favorite part of ECW was Sabu and Taz.
Hey, if you need some stuff to watch, we always talk about TNA was on top of their game. They put out a Best of Sabu like the next day. Him and Abyss had some really good matches in TNA. I think it was in 2005. They were like match of the year.
And Abyss tweeted out a nice sentimental tweet. But yeah, like Abyss carried on that hardcore style of a Sabu, of a Mick Foley, in that ilk and that's somebody else who doesn't get credit for what he's done in pro wrestling.
Yeah. Mostly because he just did it in TNA.
Right. But I mean, you look at what he's produced and what he's done in WWE as a producer, like he's one of the forefront minds in WWE. So, but yeah, him and Sabu definitely carried on the barbed wire moniker in that regards. So, but yeah, I know I probably went on way too long there, but I just felt like, because I felt like a lot of the chatter this week was more about what happened.
Yeah. A lot on the GCW stuff at the end. And
it's like, we don't know.
Yeah.
You're never going to know. You had people that were there say different things. Like, yeah. Squeeze for sure. But yeah, I wanted to come on and give the man flowers and not even touch on what may or may not have happened around and at the time of his passing.
Good. All right. Unfortunately, we started on a somber note with Sabu. So let's pick things up again. Let's try to go into what was good this week in wrestling. Donald, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, my Mount Rushmore this week comes out the ring. It goes to Bayley. She took she had to release wrestlers at dinner. It gave it took them out to dinner and everything, and just it shows what kind of person she is and all that stuff. So
I see that. That's cool.
I thought you were going with the Instagram, the comeback season pic she had with Becky Lynch's theme song playing.
No. Yeah. But then, Coach saying, she's nothing and everything, but look what she does outside the ring and for the company and for her friends and all that stuff. So, hey, that's my Mount Rushmore.
On TV?
Huh?
Did it happen on TV? It's not canon.
That's 2 weeks in a row something not on TV.
Nothing good happened on TV anyway this week.
Very little.
Hey, we've talked about Bayley a lot the past few weeks. Agreed. That just shows the type of person that she is. Yeah.
We'll see what comes about, because I was still shocked that Becky didn't beat Lyra. Do I think the title change is still coming? Yes. But the fact that, Lyra won was probably the most shocking result out of the whole card there.
Yeah.
I'm here for a Bayley-Becky feud.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Because now Bayley's motivated to stick it up Coach's ass and everybody else that may be saying she's relevant and she's boring, this, that, and the other.
Would you rather have had this? Hindsight. Would you rather have had this or the tag champs? Bayley.
What do you mean?
If we're getting the Becky Bayley feud, would you rather have that, or would you rather have them as tag champs?
Bayley and Lyra as tag champs?
Yeah, and eventually probably the feud when they break up.
Tag belts mean nothing.
One-on-one.
Yeah, give me the feud, because there's so much history there.
Yeah.
And Becky, say what you will about the Becky Hogan, and I hate that Hogan is attached with anybody that supposedly doesn't want to do business. Even though there's been no reports that Becky doesn't want to do business with anybody, nor does Rhea not want to do business with anybody. Like, you're attaching a moniker to somebody that doesn't deserve the moniker based on what the moniker was from the guy that didn't want to put nobody over. What are we doing?
So just call her Becky Flair.
There you go. That's more apropos.
Always in the title picture.
No, I'm here. I'm more. Give me a summer feud of Becky and Bayley and run it to SummerSlam. Title or not, I don't even need the title.
I don't need the title, no.
There's so much there. You could literally run the summer long program. So when they do decide to bring Bayley back, hopefully that runs out, and that is one of your big time main event matches on the 2-night SummerSlam in August.
Good.
Jason,
good.
Did you care about Becky's promo?
I thought that The brilliance with Becky's promo, to me, in my eyes, looking at it, watching it, listening to it, she's basically doing the gimmick the fans have already given her.
It's
She's
working.
feeding the crowd.
For me, it worked, but it just feels like you have Cena doing the same thing right now.
Yeah, but I think it's different. I think it's different because the fans don't really feel that way about Cena. I think a lot of the fan base really feels that way about Becky. Giving her time away,
last 3 weeks.
Giving her time away, and when she's been away, how she's come back, and the moments that she's come back in, and what she's kind of done to certain talents, Bianca, Bayley, when she's come back. I think there's a lot of hate there, but yet the crowd was cheering her too. So it's the fickleness, right? But no, she's taking everything that they're saying and she's just rolling it out there as the gimmick now. So yeah, why not?
Jason, you brought up, the tag belt situation, and Steve, you talked about how irrelevant the tag belts really are. One of the rumors this week was that Raw is thinking about introducing a world women's tag title. So they're going to have SmackDown will have a tag title. And so
you just released how many women? What are we doing?
You don't care about the tag belts now.
Yeah.
You can't book them on. You can't book one championship title across 3 brands.
This is why we got rid of the NXT women's tag team titles, so they could focus just on the one belt.
Yeah, no, don't even think about that.
And barely get an NXT tag women.
Yeah, don't even think about that.
But like you said, Jason, there's still no teams.
No.
They're all individuals put together.
And you'll see a lot more of that if that happens.
Yeah. So
every week, Natty will have a mystery tag partner.
I did see a tweet from her that said that her focus now is on the women's Intercontinental or the women's United States. She said she doesn't want to retire from the ring until she holds both of those titles.
Who's that?
Natty.
Listen, Natty's been doing the best work of her career outside of WWE. The promos she's cutting, the videos she's putting out there, the matches she's having. I'm fully invested in watching her in the NWA match. Like
that's tonight, I think, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. But like you see that from Natty over the last 2 months, and it's like you had this sitting there the whole time. You had it sitting there the whole time. Why have you not done it? Every single woman in that locker room will tell you Natty is Natty.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody holds her up there as a top women's wrestler inside of their locker room. But presentation-wise, you haven't done dick with her for damn near a decade.
She's got to be going on to close to 20 years being in WWE.
It's 8. I think it's like 18 or 19.
Yeah.
How am I not getting these promos? I'm just getting her and her sister videos.
Well, your algorithm is.
Is that your Mount Rushmore for the week? Jason, go ahead. What is your Mount Rushmore?
Mine is two. Real quick. One for Chad Gable, selling the hell out of the Mexican Destroyer, and he's been entertaining as Grande and Chad Gable. So he goes up there.
Those 2 separate people.
Grande, that's the most American pronunciation of Grande.
Like Triple A.
Yeah.
American.
I meant more like Grande's Grande. Chad Gable's Chad Gable.
No, Grande is Grande.
Yeah. Grande. Gracias.
Well, that there leads me into my Mount Rushmore Solo. Solo in this feud coming up, what they're going through. One, when he stopped him from saying all gas, no brakes, and yada, you know what you mean. Solo was entertaining. You've seen glimpses of Jimmy there, but I'm just ready for this feud to pop off. I don't care how long it takes. Just keep on planting the seeds. Him and Jacob.
That's another one I hope they don't hot shot too quickly and save that for SummerSlam too. Just let it build for the summer, like Steve was saying with Bayley and Becky.
And you can run JC and Fatu first. I hate the JC Mateo name. I don't like it at all.
I hate the Mateo. You could have just kept JC.
Like,
JC sounds too much like NSYNC.
Yeah. Will it grow on me and to where I don't think about Jeff Cobb a la Walter and Gunther? I don't know, but just right out the gate, it's just like, no, really? That's what you just came up with? That's what we
just
did?
kept saying it all night. Like, how many times do you want to say it in a match?
Well, they got to beat the fans' heads.
Yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say, yeah, you got to beat it in so you know who he is. Maybe eventually they will drop out the Mateo part.
What you saw last night, and I'm gonna speak to JC first, to Jeff Cobb, but can't even say that with a straight face. But what you saw last night from him, and he did it in glimpses in the match to where he didn't like unload the whole clip. Pause. He's gonna get over just like Fatu did in the ring because of his moveset and what he can do. That standing moonsault. Yeah, it's just like, bro, 245 pounds. You should not be doing a standing moonsault. Yeah. Same with Fatu. It's like, and he's probably heavier than 245. I'm giving him some pounds off, but
fresh off the ground.
No, like didn't even look like he bent his knees. Like, but him in the ring, he will get over in the ring. If you watched him in Lucha Underground as the Monster Matanza, and you follow him in New Japan at all, he'll get over in the ring. Yeah. To where, like, line him up, give it him and Fatu, check, yes. Him and either one of the Viking Raiders, check, yes. Him and Otis, check, yes. Him and Rusev, check, yes. Like, you throw all the big bone brothers out there, and that's going to be a match that I want to sit down and see.
Steve's just all about the meat today.
All big meaty meat. But yeah, I mean, he'll get over. I think what made Solo a nice pick, Jay, for Mount Rushmore was the fact that he hasn't been on in how long, right? You immediately drop him in. He's the entire thread throughout the whole show last night. I know the main event was the main event, but Solo was the focus of the show last night. And instantly it picked back right up where he was. It was like, there was no, why are you putting Solo as the main thread of this show? No, I was entertained as all hell for each and every single segment that he was in last night. But yeah.
Because it's after Mania, we need to put the focus back on that.
But the fact that you're bubbling this up and you're going to make Jacob Fatu an even more over individual than what he already is, and you're going to do it as a babyface, the crowd already knows all the catchphrases.
Yeah.
So, like, that's babyface check 101, right? Like, catchphrase done. What he does in the ring, done. Like, yeah. It's going to be glorious to watch. But you got two guys right there with Fatu that you can run the summer with and pay it off at SummerSlam with him and Solo. And it's not a wasted U.S. title run.
No.
So, yeah. But, I mean, Jeff Cobb is Jeff Cobb, if you guys aren't aware. So, give it a couple of weeks. Let him have a couple more matches with certain individuals and let him, like, really, truly show what he can do. And yeah, it's going to be, he'll be another guy.
Great. Steve, what do you got for the week?
I don't know. There was stuff that I liked this week. I don't know if I necessarily really truly loved anything. That made it like really ho-hum, but I'm going to give it to one of the vets out there, and I'm going with R-Truth. The role that he played in the main event, and we said it last week during the predictions, does R-Truth get involved, etc. The fact that he feels like he didn't cost Randy Orton the match. The fact that he was sticking up for his childhood hero. The fact that he went into the press conference and gave his childhood hero props and said, even though they say you can't wrestle, leading him to eating an AA through a table, to the sit down 3-4 minute promo he cut with Wade Barrett last night. Like, R-Truth for me was on my Mount Rushmore.
I enjoyed the promo.
Yeah.
I immediately want to see him and John Cena.
You will.
And the AEW fan base will go, oh, you want to see 50-year-old R-Truth and 48-year-old John Cena, but Adam Copeland and such gets pissed on and booed on. It's like,
Truth can still go.
Both of them can. Yeah.
but look at the way that it's presented. It's presented in a storyline format that makes me want to see the match.
The fans have asked for this. As soon as Cena announced his retirement tour, but even more so whenever he turned heel.
I said it was soon after he turned heel after Mania. I said, I need John Cena and R-Truth at some point. And the fact that Truth literally is going with the John Cena promo of hustle, loyalty, respect, never give up.
I'm bringing 3 things to this match.
Hustle, loyalty, respect. And that's his motivation for wanting to kick the shit out of John Cena? Yeah, I want to sit down and watch it. Absolutely. John Cena said, your childhood dies. And that was a direct shot to R-Truth. It's his childhood hero. Like, it's an Easter egg that people didn't pick up on.
I'm enjoying this much more than their original feud like 15 years ago. Whenever R-Truth was heel. But
Oh, you don't want cigarette smoking R-Truth.
But yeah, I mean, you're getting Cena and Truth. It's on Saturday night's main event. That card is shaping up to be a really good card next week. Yeah, like I have no problem. It's not taking away a primetime pay-per-view spot, but it's in a big enough moment that you're giving the fans what they want.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm all here for it. But yeah, R-Truth, do we get a Cena appearance next week prior to? Because I would love to see them face off in the ring one time.
I don't know if he's advertised for anything next week other than Saturday night's main event.
But
they're in Tampa for SmackDown, right?
They're in Tampa all weekend. It's a Tampa takeover.
So yeah, he might be there on SmackDown then.
Yeah. But that's 2 appearances that you knock off the Cena appearance list. So
yeah.
I don't know if you necessarily need him out there before Saturday night's main event, but I would love to just see him and Truth face to face in the ring. Give me one promo battle between them 2.
Or just because they're in Tampa, it just counts as one, maybe.
Okay. We're going.
But yeah, R-Truth for me gets the spot after that promo last night.
I'm going to give it from MLP Northern Rising. I'm going to give it to Speedball Mike Bailey, Gabe Kidd, and Michael Uko last week.
I said that had potential to steal the show.
It's like the event itself had a lot of technical issues, and it was really hard to watch on some parts. But that's the kind of match that I like, where it's Uko and Speedball had very similar styles, but Gabe Kidd is the complete opposite of it. And that's what I like, is whenever you get the mesh of styles. I think that always delivers. So in that case, it was probably one of the better matches I watched this week.
Yeah, that was a good match. I love the finishing sequence between Gresham and Zack Sabre.
That's what I enjoyed the most too out of that match.
Yeah, and that was my match of the night going into the weekend, actually, out of both shows with Backlash. But like, yeah, just those 2, like I could literally watch those 2 just do technical chain wrestling for hours on it. Mm-hmm. It took me back to like Malenko Guerrero and ECW. We talked about ECW earlier in the show and matches and that, but if you go back to like that series of matches with Malenko and Guerrero and the mat and chain wrestling that they did in those matches, like when you get 2 people in there that know how to do it, Benoit and Angle. And I know you can't say his name.
We can say it. They can't say it.
Yeah, you just like, to me, I enjoy that style of wrestling when you get two people in there that know how to do it. But that sequence of roll throughs, roll ups, back and forth, counters, it just, yeah, for me that was a really good match last weekend. And then shout out to Josh Alexander and Giselle Shaw for becoming first time Maple Leaf Pro heavyweight champion and women's champion out of the card. I'll touch on the Alexander thing in a minute, but yeah.
I might see eye to eye on something with that. So let's go reverse order. Steve, what was your mush for the week?
There were several things throughout the week. NXT's presentation, like what they did with Miles Bourne to start the show, like the promo going over his disability, etc., and all that. But by the end of the show, it was like, well, you didn't, like, that's not how you booked him in the beginning of the show. Like, and I understand that presentation and rollout for him. NXT's making a couple questionable decisions nowadays. AEW just had a lot of stuff that I just didn't vibe with this week. But the main thing is just the presentation and booking of Josh Alexander. You had him debut. He loses to Hangman. Then he joins the Don Callis family. And what has he done since then? He's eaten loss after loss after loss. You had him take the pin in the tag team match to open the show this week after he just won the championship from Maple Leaf Pro, and Don Callis is on commentary like, we're taking this belt to AEW. The Callis family, this is that, the other. Well, if you're saying that, and then 5 days later, your champion eats a pin, what has he done in AEW to make me feel like Josh Alexander is special?
It's like the speed title doesn't exist on TV.
Take the Maple Leaf Pro title even out of it. Just looking solely at AEW's booking of Josh Alexander. You have booked Mike Bailey better than Josh Alexander.
Yes.
And that is a crime.
Mm-hmm.
Flat out crime.
And I understand, like, I'm gonna go on the Maple Leaf Pro side of it instead of the AEW side for a second. During the opening contest of the event this past week was Alexander versus QT, and I get, you know, they're booking Alexander different in Canada than they are on AEW, but you have Don Callis on commentary on Maple Leaf, and he's talking about how Josh Alexander is his guy. But Josh Alexander is coming off as a face in Maple Leaf. And then Callis is, even because he's playing that heel commentary role, he's hyping up QT in the match because he's the heel in the match. It's like, this is why I hate whenever guys like go into different promotions, because like if you don't have the continuity, like I get, you know, they want Alexander to be the face of Maple Pro and be that good guy for Canada. But if he's playing a heel and you have the guy that's his manager as the heel there, the whole continuity just doesn't come off good.
And not only that, but like I saw some hate thrown at Scott D'Amore for booking Giselle and Alexander to win the titles and saying, oh, it's just D'Amore's friends being the champions, blah, blah, this, that, and the other. Like Maple Leaf Pro can only book so many talents. Mm-hmm. They only have a short. They don't have a wide net to cast out there as far as having talents come in and do their shows.
And you're putting them on notable names.
And you're putting them, yeah. So, like, would I want to watch QT Marshall versus Josh Alexander? No. But I understand, given the promotion where the match is happening at, that, yeah, that makes sense from a booking perspective. But to me, the fact that Tony Khan just signed Josh Alexander to have him come in and lose multiple matches in a row after debuting makes me understand that you do not know what you have in your talents in the locker room. And you do not know what to do from a booking perspective.
Agreed.
Again, if you're booking Mike Bailey better than Josh Alexander, something's wrong. And that's not a slight to Mike Bailey. Even though it's going to sound like one. But what are we doing? What are we doing?
Does anybody else have anything from AEW this week?
Well, I could go on. I got more from AEW.
Oh, I do.
No, I do too.
ahead,
So that's why.
Oh, well, my main one from AEW was Tony Storm and the whole Eliminator thing. Like, you have Mina win when you could have built the whole story like 4 weeks ago with Mina and Timeless Tony Storm, except putting her in 4 straight Eliminator matches.
And you already have it. You already have it in the book. You already had it in play.
Yeah, because as soon as it was over with, the thing on the Jumbotron showed up. It was like, come on now.
Now I know based on when Mina.
I did enjoy the match though this week.
It was still an Eliminator match to me.
It started out clunky. Like, I know it worked its way through, and overall it was a good match, but it just took me out of the beginning. Same with Fraxium and DIY last night. Like, they got off to that botch in the beginning of the match, but Ciampa falling down when Axiom tried to put him in the crucifix, and then Nathan Frazier just standing there not knowing what to do to run the ropes 4 times and miss on a drop kick because of where Ciampa was laying as a makeup. Like, that just took me out of that match, even though it turned into a really good match. Like, just took me out. Same with the 4-way women's match. Like, Mina's dates as far as when she wrapped up in New Japan, etc., the booking that she had to finish and all that, I understand it didn't allow for a lot of time prior to Double or Nothing. But then don't run it at Double or Nothing.
Or you just don't run Mina at all and have somebody else.
Yeah.
Show up at Double.
I mean,
add the storyline at Double.
Well, one of the rumors I saw this week is that Mariah is going to return at Double or Nothing. That she's sticking around. So if Mariah returns, that makes sense if the two of them are out there.
But it's just like, you run 4 straight weeks of title eliminators to have your champ get pinned to the person that's going to challenge her at Double or Nothing
a week before,
and I'm supposed to be excited.
They need to stop doing eliminator matches. Like, Tony can just go out there and have a match. It doesn't have to be an eliminator match. Yeah.
And what was the point of having the other two if the champ is eating the pin?
Exactly. Why have Sky Blue and AZM out there?
Well, Sky Blue just because it was Chicago. That was the whole reason for her.
And then what? You have Azumi there to have Mercedes carry over the feud from losing the New Japan belt of Resurgence.
Yeah.
To have Jamie Hayter come out and attack Mercedes to hype up their match. Like, we talked about it on the show last week. You've literally run the same angle with Mercedes and Jamie for how many weeks?
Yeah. What is it? That sit-down interview brawl. Sit-down interview brawl.
There was no interview this week, but there was a brawl.
Oh, there's always a brawl in AEW.
It like,
and then,
AEW. Go ahead, see.
No, just like the MJF and her business stuff. First off, that was about to be my mush of the week. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it more, replaying it over in my head, that whole tag team segment that AEW rolled out this week is my mush of the week. Alexander booking aside, you had Hurt Syndicate come out, promo time. Prior to that, MVP tells MJF to meet him out in the ring after their match. They have the match against Top Flight, beat them up. Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara come out for I don't know
whatever reason,
basketball reasons for Dustin to tell her business to stop, to give them a title shot because they're ROH champs, to have the crew come out and Action Andretti and Leo Rush sound like dog shit on the microphone. For MVP to say, hey, you two have a match on Collision. Oh, by the way, we only have 30 seconds until commercial break. When you come back, MJF will be out here. What?
Production talk.
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to read that part.
What?
That was supposed to be Excalibur's part.
Yeah.
It's the prompter for Ron Burgundy. If you put it on the prompter, he's going to read it. Like, what are we doing?
Not with that italicized part, you know.
For them to come back, to have MJF hiding behind Tony Khan, for Tony Khan to snitch on MJF, to MJF come out, Bobby takes 7 minutes to put his thumb up, for MJF to be in the group, for them to say, tune in next week for the Hurt Syndicate contract signing. Is he in the group or not? He got the third thumbs up. What are we doing?
Well, then next week we'll book the match for Double or Nothing.
So what's the contract signing for?
MJF to sign a contract to join the group.
To join the Hurt Syndicate. He has to sign a contract to join the Hurt Syndicate. Mark Sterling's reviewing the contract right now. What are we doing?
Tag teams was in a match.
Yeah. Because everybody signs a contract whenever they get in the group, apparently.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So now I'm going to get Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara against the Hurt Syndicate at Double or Nothing?
And I don't want to see that.
No interest in there. Not you can do it as long as you're getting rid of the Ring of Honor tag team titles and unify the belts together. That's the only reason to have that match.
Where's Private Party at?
I don't know.
Quando? Who?
Where the Bucks at? Where's FTR?
FTR is wrestling Nigel and Daniel Garcia.
Yeah.
AEW was about to be my bush like overall because the interest level in it is like gone with me. I can't watch it no more. Like I literally can't watch it. I tried to watch an 8-minute highlight reel and I couldn't even get through that.
AEW for me, and here's my mush of the week was the whole Ricochet Zach Allen thing. All that was taking some stupid shit WWE did, 20 years ago, whenever you had Vince versus Zach Allen, and you had Ricochet play the same exact part. That's all that match was. Like, if you're going to give me, some of the worst times in WWE as for AEW television, like you're on par for NXT with me because NXT keeps giving me WWE 95. Like, I don't want to watch either one of you if you're just going to give me like recycled shit constantly. And like that match, I mean, AEW had some highs and lows this week, like they do every week. But yeah, it's AEW. It's why I don't watch them consistently anymore.
It's about to get cut altogether for me. If I'm not interested in it, I'm not watching it. It's just like any form of entertainment.
You're not going to get me to pay for your pay-per-view.
I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to watch it.
And then you have Samoa Joe and Jon Moxley.
Blood.
For another just god-awful Death Riders finish. To lead to interference and help from Gabe Kidd, who's been cutting promos about how much he hates AEW. But you're coming out to help the champion retain? To be added to an Anarchy in the Arena match?
Well, because Moxley's group is the anti-AEW. They're taking over.
So the names allegedly for this Anarchy in the Arena match are Moxley, Marina Shafir, Gabe Kidd, and the Young Bucks. Versus Swerve, Samoa Joe, Willow, and Powerhouse Hobbs and somebody else.
You have
Kenny because they were beating Kenny up.
Kenny, Powerhouse Hobbs and Omega.
You have a whole faction. Why are you throwing other people in the Anarchy Arena?
What are we doing?
And you should be doing it. And you don't have it hyped up. Like, I think they're saving it for All In, but it's just like, when you put Okada in there. No, I think they're saving. I think they're saving Omega and Okada for All In. But it's like if they're feuding, shouldn't Okada be in the match to go against Omega?
And then you had the Death Riders sitting in the Young Bucks locker room from last week. There was no follow up on that. No follow up on that at all. Young Bucks weren't even on the show, except to take a dive from Swerve that every single man walked over and stood at the bottom of, waiting for him to dive off of.
Like open arms.
That's every promotion does that.
John Cena wants to ruin wrestling.
AEW
is doing it.
The John Moxley is ruined. Yeah, I can't with them.
Okay, Money in the Bank. Whenever somebody grabs the briefcase this year, instead of it being the contract, can it be the AEW title?
A cool question for you guys. Like for free agents coming into AEW, like they know AEW is booked so bad. I'll use Josh Alexander as an example. AEW booking been bad way before he came in. Why would talent go there?
Money.
Money and schedule is literally the only difference.
Me and Dawn were talking about this the other day. You know, Triple H talked, taking shots at Ospreay for not wanting to work a full schedule. WWE's not working a full schedule anymore. They don't really have any house shows. They're rare these days. So they're working the same exact schedule pretty much. So, I mean, that's another.
I think the Ospreay thing's a little bit different because he didn't want to leave the UK.
It's like if you're to Donald, what you're asking, it's like if I think anymore, the schedule is going to be roughly the same for these guys. So it kind of depends on maybe where the money that's offered to them.
I mean, Willow re-signed.
Yeah.
You don't have to water down your style also, which is actually protecting you, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
Does that make you grow?
You want to talk about
how, like I always say, with
the
like
style
gimmicks
and the protection, Jay? Did you guys see the screen grab of the photo from Katesh? God damn it.
Takeshita?
I don't know why I can't have to say that right now. But he gave there was a photo, and shout out to the cameraman that took it, but there was a photo of him doing the jumping knee into Hangman's head.
Oh, yeah.
Into Ospreay's face, and Hangman and Ospreay, like, it's literally knee to head to head to head. Like there's no protection at all.
It's very much the strong style.
I mean,
just weird.
The AEW defenders will say that it's never been hotter and it's never been better. And to me, it's never been worse.
Just look at this panel.
Yeah.
It was me versus y'all every week.
Yeah. And that was also at a time of we were hating WWE.
Yeah.
But I mean, now I haven't completely flipped. I'm more in the middle where I don't think either one's running a great promotion, but
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, there's definitely booking on WWE that I question.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But like, it's just as bad as certain things are on WWE for them to be considered a mush of the week. AEW just comes in and steamrolls it based on what they do.
Holding my beer.
Yeah.
Man, just give me women's wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's a big topic. That was a big topic this week too, because allegedly the Evolution 2 pay-per-view.
We're gonna come back to that a little bit later on.
All right.
Jason, what was your mush for the week?
Mine's will play into booking, like you say, compared to Josh Alexander, but mine is the IWC for it. I don't think it went on too long, but like as soon as Roxanne and Julia lost, they were dead in the water. All I seen was, what are you doing? I'm like, you lost to EO and Rhea. You're not burying Roxanne Perez.
Oh well, that match. How about Raw and SmackDown both being main evented by women this week? That should have been a Mount Rushmore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, should have been a Mount Rushmore. You had women main event both shows this week.
Yeah.
Did women main event NXT too? Is that the women's
I
tag?
I didn't even watch NXT.
It might have been.
I think it might have been.
Yeah, Julie or Stephanie and
Jordan.
Jordan versus Fatal Influence. Yeah.
So you had women main event, and that should have been Mount Rushmore this week across all 3 shows. But that tag match was really good tag match.
Mhm.
Really good tag match. And Nia and Tiffany was a good match too.
I enjoyed that ending.
Mhm.
Now, say what I mean. You say compare the, like I'm saying, Josh Alexander compared to Roxanne Perez. Yes, Roxanne has lost a ton of matches, but she is getting out there. They're putting her out there, and she is getting over in every damn match, and she is visible every week. So a loss isn't going to hurt you. It's all in how you booked.
Now I do hate the fact that they announced Julia as the newest member of SmackDown roster whenever they have plans to do a draft in a couple weeks, allegedly.
I didn't like that.
But I do like the fact that Julia is right there looking at Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. And again, they continued that thread too. What the hell's going on with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss?
Tune in next week.
And I hope they keep more of Alexa out there. Just not bring her in for a gimmick pay-per-view for Money in the Bank, like Elimination
Or not just
Chamber,
automatically
like
tying her into the Wyatt 6. Because we all thought that was the immediate booking for her.
Yeah. Just not the
But yeah, no,
spot.
the women should have been Mount Rushmore this week for main eventing.
They probably main evented Evolve too.
Damn. See, now as I'm talking about things, more things are popping into my head as far as mushes of the week. And I may change my mush of the week right now.
Third time.
I won't take a lot of time on this, but what is Nikita Lyons? What is Nikita Lyons? Is she a prize fighter? Is she a cage fighter? Is she an Instagram model? Is she a stripper? Like, what is she? Because she literally gives me every single thing under the sun in her entrance.
You combine all together, influencer.
No, combine it all together. You are over the top extra for no reason being over the top extra.
Agreed.
And every single moveset you do in the ring is over the top extra.
The jack of all trades, master of none.
No. And how long has she been NXT in the PC?
Well, she's been out for 2 years. She's literally missed 2+ years, almost 3 years due to injury. So
Stone Cold knee braces.
Yeah.
Now you got to change up your style to all that shit.
Well, I mean, DJ tag teams haven't main evented AEW yet either, and that was supposed to be the stronghold of the company. So.
You keep saying that, and yes, they did. Tag match counts.
What tag match?
Young Bucks versus Sting and Darby. It counts. It counts. This is not the match you wanted to see. It still counts. Put a little asterisk right next to that one. All right. So we'll get into the game this week. Steve, you brought up rumor this week that Evolution 2 is going to happen in July. The rumor is it's going to be paired with Saturday night's main event in Atlanta.
On July 13th, all in July 12th, which the Saturday night's main event is going up against. So,
anybody surprised by this?
WWE's looking to double dip on both of those.
It's what they do. But nobody's competition.
I don't think it's so much as competition. I just think it's like them wanting to like go for the jugular and just like. We said it last week. Am I going to watch Saturday Night's Main Event for free on Peacock because I pay $4.99 a month for it through my Comcast subscription, or am I going to shell out $50 for All In?
No.
A choice made.
Pretty much.
You can make this pay-per-view all NXT, and I'll be happy.
So with that, the game
So
this week is fantasy booking.
Well, so they are, before you bring it up, they are rumored. It's rumored to be, if they do announce it for Evolution 2, it's rumored to be a seven match card with a battle royal.
Everybody gets a payday.
Another Mae Young Classic?
No,
I didn't say anything on that.
but 7 matches plus a battle royal.
What we're going to do is a 5-match card.
Okay.
So we're going to do everybody gives a match, and then the main event will be a fatal 4-way, and we'll all pick a competitor for that. But once somebody's used, you can't use them in any other matches. So when Jason picks Charlotte Flair, nobody else can pick Charlotte Flair. So Jason, why don't you go first? Why don't you give us a match for Evolution? It can be, and we'll do this. It's fantasy booking, so it can be anything.
I'm going to pick Charlotte regardless. So we'll do my 4-way. Give me just because I see it happening. Give me Nikki Bella. I don't know who put up against though. Give me Nikki Bella and Alexa.
It's an interesting combination.
I couldn't think of it.
Go ahead, Steve.
Charlotte Flair versus Jade Cargill. Now you can't use Charlotte. There you go.
You took the one I was going to use. God damn it.
Charlotte and Jade. And that's only because I've seen that being rumored, either for Saturday night's main event or for Evolution. So
would be really cool if they kind of made an Evolution weekend and did women's matches on Saturday night's main event too. But Donald,
give me Bianca versus Jada Parker.
ooh.
okay, I'm okay with that one.
So Chris, once you give your match, then we're doing a 4-way.
Then we'll do a 4-way, yeah.
Where each one of us is picking a woman, or are we giving a full 4-way match?
No, each one of us will pick a woman in the match. So that'll be the 4-way.
Steve.
Those are good. I'm gonna go with Jordan Grace versus Nia Jax.
Okay.
Yeah. We always talk about big meaty men. Yeah, that's a lot of beefy women in that match too. So
Thick women.
very thick.
Thick.
All right, Steve, go ahead. Give us one for the main event.
Stephanie Vakir. This should be a no-brainer. If we're on the same wavelength, this should be a no-brainer because I literally just laid the groundwork as far as throwing out the match for the Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah.
What, Jay?
Yeah.
Jay's playing along. He's on the same wavelength.
Son of a bitch took my pick. Donald.
My newest wrestler, Julia.
Donald failed the assignment.
I think I'm going to go the opposite. Not the opposite, but kind of go with you. I'd go Asuka.
And Chris failed the assignment too.
It's supposed to be Tippy time and Rhea squeezes her way in.
Fantasy.
No, it was supposed to be
Do all the champions.
all 4 champions.
Okay.
4 champions? What, TNA?
Oh, that would you throw Masha Slamovich in there, yeah. Or Tessa. I wasn't even thinking that route.
Yeah, you could definitely do that. So we had Nikki Bella versus Alexa, Charlotte Flair versus Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair versus Jada Parker, Nia Jax versus Jordan Grace, then Stephanie Vakir versus Io versus Julia versus Asuka.
And much like our women's thing last week, we left a lot of people on the board.
Yeah, that's what the Battle Royal is for, apparently.
Yeah, Becky Hogan can win the Battle Royal.
That's not good enough creative.
All right. Anything else before we wrap things up?
Let me see if I have any quick hitters out there. Trick Williams, I thought Trick starting to come into his own a little bit with this heel Trick gimmick. Let me read the quote, the line that he said to Joe Hendry. Said in the contract signing, he said, "There's something you need to realize, Joe. You're a social media sensation. Trick Williams is bigger than NXT. I'm bigger than TNA. Hell, I'm bigger than them both combined. I'm Hollywood Trick." So you want to talk about
HBI?
HPI?
The Mac and Roll.
Hollywood Rick? What? And that's a brother. That's a brother saying the brother line. That's a brother.
I think
brethren.
I think he's more rock Hollywood.
If he comes out with the bow, except a robe, you already know.
NBC did their upfronts this week, and Braun Strowman has a show after he was released.
Produced by WWE.
Produced by WWE. So it's him traveling around eating stuff, whatever.
Apparently, they said that part of the release, more of the release for him was due to injuries.
It's injury in his contract.
Yeah, so
I heard his foot was not dead, but
Like paralyzed. Yeah.
The Miz is coming back as the host for American Gladiators. So they're rebooting American Gladiators on Prime. 10, I think it's a 10-episode season. He'll be the host there. So hopefully it's a lot better than the Hulk Hogan version of American Gladiators.
You'll see
with
some
Muhammad Ali's daughter.
It's kind of interesting. Like,
I don't care.
We enjoyed it a lot, you know, and I actually didn't hate the overall of the Hogan Layla Ali version of it. You know, they didn't change much to it, so I don't know. To me, it's like American Ninja Warriors, more like the modern day American Gladiators than what that is.
DJ, you can't beg us to put comments up, DJ. Okay, we'll put up whatever comment we want to put up. Okay. Out here going into business for yourself. That can't happen. Speaking of partnerships and wrestlers doing other things, Swerve Strickland announced this week he's collabed with Reebok in the release of the Swerve Strickland Allen Iverson 3s. They were inspired by his Wakanda Forever Black Panther gear. So the shoes drop sometime this month or next month. But they look kind of dope. I'm not mad at them. They're not my favorite versions of the Iversons though. But yeah, they look dope.
We're not gonna talk about the partnership that somebody want, you know.
What's that?
Real American Hearts.
Yeah, brother wants to buy Hooters.
Hey, gonna bring chicken back.
And then I think the last one that I have, as far as
coming next, Hulk Hogan's Wingstop. Real American flavor.
We've seen Will Ospreay, a lot of comments about WWE and wrestlers and everything. Kenny Omega this week in an interview or podcast said that we're a couple years away from Logan Paul versus Mr. Beast as the main event of WrestleMania.
It could happen.
What are you talking about? You have AJ Big Boom Francis.
It's called Can You Focus on Your Own Company?
Yeah.
Can everybody just focus on their own company?
It's coming from the guy that had a match with a 9-year-old. Granted, it was in Japan, but still.
Again. Who cares what we're doing over here? Let's focus on our own stuff. But nope, you can't do that.
Gotta take the shots because that's what you gotta get the clickbait. That's all you gotta get.
Got to play into the tribalism, though you don't want tribalism.
All right, anything else?
I just
he got more mush.
Gonna change it to a fourth time.
I might.
That
I want to
Wednesday
talk
show
about
hurt.
being fickle. I'm fickle over who was the mush of the week. That's just going to show you how
There was a
bad
lot
stuff
to
was.
choose from. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff to choose from this week.
Okay, DJ, I'll put this comment up.
Stop playing my. Only reason I said Nikki Bella is because you know she's going to be on. So
Let's hope it's the
Who'll be
battle
in the
royal.
battle royal.
Doesn't need to be on a match like they did the last time.
She needs to be on because she got to pay out now. So
She's gonna be making that Flair money just to keep paying shit out.
one more match.
What happens when the
Tune in for Nikki Bella's energy drink.
Steel
Jason's
City
on it.
call. Steel City call.
That Crystal Light hitting this morning, ain't it? All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to episode 239 of the Dumbmarks podcast. Make sure you head over to Spotify, give the show a listen. Follow us on all social media at DumbmarksPod. Email the show, dumbmarkspod@gmail.com. And, of course, buy the merch, prowrestlingtees.com/dumbmarkspod. To end the week... All right, your quote of the week is going to be, it's not who you are that holds you back, it's who you think you are not. So until next week, we'll catch you around the way.
hey,